Hey, good morning, everybody. Nathan Ivey with you. Thank you for waiting. I know we're starting the show super late this morning, but some things are unavoidable. Got a lot going on inside the fam right now. But want to make sure that we got together on this last day of 2020. And I can almost remember what I felt and what I was thinking as we were going into 2020. So a year ago today, I could damn near remember exactly how I felt. Wasn't that long ago for me. I mean, just a year ago. And I had a lot of plans and a lot of things I wanted to accomplish in 2020. Some I did, some I did not, quite honestly. And who could have foreseen what was going to happen, how things were going to break down? The pandemic taking over the country, really taking over the world, changing our culture, changing the way that we interact with one another. It has been quite amazing. Good morning to you, 513-873-7134. There we are. Nathan Ivey with you. Got the house cold because, so where's right for the jacket? It's kind of cold down here in the studio this morning. Just to make sure it's comfortable throughout the house. Good morning to you. It is a beautiful New Year's Eve day. New Year's Eve day 2020. Now, do I expect for 2021 to be anything different via the pandemic? No, I do not. All of the experts within the last 24 hours, Dr. Fauci himself has come out and said, you know what? You can expect for 2021 to be the same up until, I think they're saying, the fall of 2021. The fall? Yeah. So that's most of the year. So we ain't out of this, folks. Don't think that just the changing of a day. Tomorrow is the first day of 2021. Don't think that's going to change the pandemic. It's not going to change wearing a mask. It's not going to change a lot of that. It's really all about the attitude you bring into the year, quite honestly. Does anybody have a really good story? I love stories. I love a great story. I'm wondering, does anybody have a really good New Year's Eve story? Maybe you got a fantastic story about something that's happened in 2020. It could be an OMG story for hopefully the positive or whatever. I'm just interested. Any stories from 2020 that you would like to share with me? Any New Year's Eve stories? Think about it for a second. I'm talking to adults here. What is your best New Year's Eve memory? If you can share it. Some of y'all have very adult, we'll put it that way. We'll say X-rated stories. And I'm here for that, but just be artful about it. That's all I ask. Don't put nobody's name out there. I'm here for that. It's the last calendar day of 2020. We should go out with a bang. No pun intended. But I'm interested. What was your most fondest memory on New Year's Eve? Are you a big New Year's Eve kind of person? Like if you've never gone out for New Year's Eve and have fun, you ain't living, man. Get out there and have some fun. Enjoy yourself. But for some people, after you do it for a few years, you're like, what's the big deal? You want to stay home and be safe? That's right. They'll be shooting tonight. I know ShotSpotter will be going crazy later on tonight. But we made it. Happy New Year's Eve. And hopefully you're going into 2021 better than you came into 2020. That would be my hope for you. In all ways, your health ways, your business ways, your relationship ways, your whatever you're working on. You know, I wish the best for you. 100%. 513-873-7134. We'll take some calls today. We'll certainly take some phone calls this morning if you'd like to share your thoughts on the last year. I'll be reflecting through words, through video, and through pictures on the year that is 2021. So buckle up and get ready for that. Yeah, you know, we got to do it, man. We got to do it. Hell of a year, man. Hell of a year. Good morning to you. All right, let me where we at here. Got the Habu hat on, HABU. Check it out. Also, there's a link to our product sponsor. Okay, that's IGMBAT. They're a Black-owned fine jewelry store. There's a link. They're offering a special promo for Nathan Ivey Show listeners, 10% off through today. Through the end of the year, that's today. So any purchase over $25, you put that coupon code in there, which is CHOPPERS, CHOPPERS, and you get 10% off. All right. Want to make sure you get that in today because today's the last day for that for this year. Hope you're doing well. Mason Muller writes, morning, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Pat writes, good morning. Brenda writes, happy New Year's Eve. We made it. Ray writes, Here, here. I'm here for $2,000 stimulus checks for the people, although they're not going to be happening anytime soon. On yesterday, Mitch McConnell, I told you he was a Mitch. He and some other Republicans slammed the door on that idea. So that's not going to happen. What a Republican or the Democrats going to do in response? Well, we'll have to wait and see. Bernie Sanders says that he was going to shut down some kind of defense authorization bill. He was going to shut it down as much as he could if Mitch McConnell didn't offer a clean, as in nothing else is attached to the bill, right, other than just an increase to $2,000 for a stimulus payout. There's Republicans saying, well, we can't do that because there's going to be people that get it that don't deserve it. You mean like, you know, everybody runs around here talking about we don't want socialism. But the reality is that, and I saw a video, and I agree with the author or the person speaking in the video, that we already have socialism, but we're socialized to the rich. We got socialism, but we socialize to the rich. There are politicians that believe that it's their duty to put more money into the pockets of people whose pockets are already overflowing with money. Like that's their duty. And they do it under the auspices of some BS like, they're the job creators. What? I don't give a damn about no job. We talking about money. Two different things. But as I told you, Republican Party, they want to get you out there to the economy. And Mitch McConnell wants to hurt you. He wants to hurt the American people for the next 2 years so that then the Democrats or the Republicans, should I say, will have something to run upon. That's it. Now, in the big game of politics here, the Game of Thrones here in the city of Cincinnati, let me start locally and fan out. Does anybody have a bigger story locally? And by locally, I'm talking about Cincinnati. Is there a bigger story locally other than the corruption at City Hall? That's what it's been called. The fact that you had 3 members of City Council that had either willingly or voluntarily stepped down because of charges from the federal government alleging a range of different allegations, but essentially under one umbrella. They pay to play, corruption, members of City Council that were using their vote to make money. And that was the first, of course, we know was Tamaya Denard. And, damn, that's a tough spot to be in, man. I still feel for that sister. To my dying day, I'm going to feel that way. I feel for her. I hate the way that things went down. I really do. But we all have to deal with the consequences of our actions. It is what it is. Good morning to you. Then, of course, you had Jeff Pastor, black male Republican. He stepped down. And then, of course, you had P.G. Sittenfield, white male Democrat, who, by all outside indications, looked as if he was the front runner to be the next mayor of the city of Cincinnati. I mean, just amazing what has happened in just 1 year. And now, basically, we were already on the cusp of getting a vastly new, in terms of the makeup of the individual city council. That was already going to happen. Those people that we've been bellyaching about and we've become familiar with, or however you want to look at it, that we blame, those folks are leaving. All those people are going to be gone. And you're going to get a whole new majority, a whole new slate of candidates that'll lead the city into the future for 2-year terms, 2 years at a time. There's a part of me that still feels like that's a mistake, but it is what it is. 2 years at a time. 2 years at a time. The other thing that the new year brings along that way is that you can expect a new round of announcements, probably starting New Year's Eve day, Monday, the first Monday into January. You're going to start getting more announcements of people who are have decided they're going to run for either mayor or, in particular, city council. Wait for that. You're going to see all of it then. We're going to get a better picture of the full slate of individuals who might lead us in that effort. 513-873-7134. That is my number if you like to share your thoughts this morning. If you want to get into the show, I'm saying goodbye to 2020. Yeah, right. Where's the toilet paper at? Let's get it. Because 2020 has been one big year of what. Tired of it. You already know. At least that's what I'm hearing from a lot of people. For me personally, 2020 was an eye-opening experience. You already know I'm going to go through my thing again because that's my testimony in February. And I'm looking forward to my 1-year anniversary from having a cardiac event. But in February, I was almost up out of here. So, I look at myself as very, very blessed. You can see me right now. I'm blessed to be, got got my Habu hat on. I'm blessed to be sitting in front of you right now, and I know it. So on a personal health tip, it's been an interesting journey, and it never ends. It's a lifestyle thing. I'm not doing what I'm doing now just for a year or just for until I feel better, because I feel great. It's lifestyle. Forever. Forever. Ever. Ever. Yes. Forever. 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 That's it. It is what it is. Mason Mahler writes, good morning, Nathan and Choppers. Good morning to you, Mason Mahler. Pat writes, good morning. Let me catch up here. Sharp writes, good morning, Nathan and Choppers. We made it to the end of this bizarro year. What does 2021 hold for us? ? Only time will tell. Has 2020 been bizarre? Well, it's definitely been unique. Like, who's ever lived with a pandemic before? I've never led through it. This is something completely different to my human experience. I thought I experienced everything, never experienced this. And look at how our culture has changed. I mean, everyone's wearing masks. Businesses have been shut down. We still got a curfew for the next, 2-3 weeks into January from our illustrious leader, if you want to call him that, Mike DeWine, who has no spine. Oh, now you got a spine, huh? Okay. It's been interesting. It's been very, very interesting. I say that the masks are here to stay for the rest of our lifetimes. For many of your lifetimes, you're going to be dealing with masks. It's going to be a mask policy. Even after we get to herd immunity, there already talks about the virus mutating. We'll have to wait and see. But my guess would be we're going to be masked up for the rest of our lives in some levels. There's some people that's never going back. Like the way we living right now, there are some people that are never going back. There's some people who are already there, like Michael Jackson. From time to time, you see a weird lady, and it was usually a lady. You see a weird lady who was dressed up like, from head to toe with some kind of medical scrubs, or she had a mask on. And we used to look at those people like, damn, they weird. What's wrong with them? Now that's everybody. Now that weird old lady is your mama. It's you. It's your sister. It's your mother. It's your grandmother. It's your wife. It's your girlfriend. That's what happens. I suspect the masks will be here in a year. In a year, we'll still be talking about masks. No doubt about it. We'll still be going back and forth. Some people will be arguing about whether they should wear them or not. It ain't going nowhere. Not one bit. Deborah writes, good morning, Nathan and Choppers. Jackie writes, a happy new year. That clown will be gone. Peace 2021. You talking about Trump? Yeah, Trump's up out of here. And what does he got? Like, I don't know, 2 weeks or something like that? Yeah. Well, how much power does he really have? He wanted $2,000 stimulus checks. Mitch McConnell was showing you what real power is. It's what you do when you got that kind of legislative prerogative that really shows what you're made of. Mitch is going to do exactly what he wants to do. The Republicans, I read this morning, some of the senators are running around talking about how they don't want to just waste money. If they do it again, the money's going to go to people who didn't need it. Huh? Who don't need $2,000? But when it was wait. It's amazing how they got this rationale. But when it comes to wealthy people, nobody said, you know what? Wealthy people, these tax breaks are going to go to wealthy people who don't need it. By the sure fact that they're wealthy and they met certain federal sort of like monetary guidelines, income guidelines, that means that they were eligible and therefore qualified for all the new tax breaks. But when it comes to the working class, they just want to just give you a little bit at a time. They don't want to see you come all the way up at one time. Oh, no. We don't want to do that. We give you $2,000. Y'all might figure out a way to get out of the rat race. That they don't want to do that. They don't want to just lay a straight line. They want to give it to you in little pieces. Little pieces. Like if you loan somebody $1,000, right? You give them $1,000 at one time. That's completely different than the person repaying you $100 a month, right? I mean, that's a little different. So I gave you $1,000, you only give me $100 a month. I got to wait another 10 months to get my money back. That ain't the same. You know what I'm saying? Like You give people $600 now and then $1,400 in 6 months. Sure, it's a cumulative $2,000, but it ain't the same as having $2,000 worth of purchasing power all at one time. It's not the same. It's not the same. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. Ashley writes, good morning, Nathan and Choppers. Happy New Year's Eve. We lost an aunt on Christmas Eve to COVID. That's my third family member this year. Sending my prayers to your family, Nathan. I appreciate it. Damn, third family member? All due to COVID, Ashley? Man, not good. Prayers up. Tanika writes, good morning, Nathan and Choppers. Ray writes, stimulus received. CC paid. Credit card paid. Hey, if that takes the burden off, cool. That's helping the credit card statement score for another month or two. Cool. Cassandra writes, hey, Choppers. Sharp writes, glad you're still with us, Nate, voice of the city. Appreciate it. Pam writes, good morning, all. Let me see. Pam writes, I don't know, Nate. I see everybody still hitting the flights on my timeline back and forth to Vegas, international, etc. You can have a mask on, but close, tight-knit spaces still increases exposure. I agree with you. There's some people out there because they hustling, they out there in the streets, they doing what they got to do. Okay, I kind of get that. I get that much more than people that are just traveling recreationally. But, that's what I'm saying. God's little selfish creatures. Like if humanity was told, here's what you need to do to keep yourself safe and other humans safe. And a large segment of humanity has spoken. They don't care. It's what it is. There's some people, when they want to travel, they're going to travel. They don't care. They don't care about spreading it, and they don't care about getting it. It is what it is. Good morning, Pam. As I say Pat, I meant Pam. Sharp writes, over 90,000 homicides, over 90 homicides in the city this year. Yeah, we saw an uptick in homicides right after the pandemic. Yeah, I think one had to do with the other. People already living on a razor's edge. When a stressful situation happens or a stressful event, it doesn't go away. It doesn't suddenly get better. It's the same. You know what I'm saying? It's the exact same. None changes. You're just trying to make decisions in a difficult environment. That's it. That's it. 513-873-7134. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. All right, I think I put the number out. I'll put it on the screen here to make sure that everybody can see it. Oh, okay, great. I see a lot of choppers are inside of the Facebook feed. There we go. What's up, everybody? Yeah, that's me right there. If you want to give me a call, feel free to do so. Now, you don't have to. You can always just take a free ride on my thoughts, sit back and chill. I do the heavy lifting. I got this. All right, don't worry. I got you. Condolences and prayers to Ashley. Yeah, a lot of prayers up to Ashley. Good morning to her. 3 people in her family? That's terrible. Dale writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. He is on Facebook. Tanya's on YouTube. She writes, happy Thursday, Nate and Chopper. Still in prayer for your family and all that you are handling. Thank you so much. Brenda writes, happy New Year's Eve. Anybody got big plans? Are y'all doing virtual stuff? Like virtual New Year's Eve? I mean, isn't that kind of the same as like when you're sitting at home, you watch the ball drop in New York and you're watching whoever you're watching. I guess you're watching Steve Harvey or whoever it is, right? Isn't the same thing. It's no different, right? Like the vast majority of people don't go out on New Year's Eve. Like a lot of people do, but vast majority of people don't go out on New Year's Eve. And then think about all that money that's going to be lost today. I mean, this today, tomorrow, now I think the alcohol people still getting paid though, because people drinking. They're going to get their wine bottles, plural S. You hear that S? Bottles. They getting their beer bottles. They getting that De Leon. You're getting that De Leon. See, you can still get it. And now they got these spots, man. They got these apps where they'll deliver the alcohol straight to your house. You got to show them that you're over 21 with your license. Other than that, they'll bring it straight to your house. It's just the establishments like the bars, the restaurants, the rental spaces. People renting out spaces so they can have New Year's Eve parties. All them people going to be affected. But alcohol, people going to get them drugs. They're going to get to the bottle. You heard to get to the bad, they're going to get to the bottle. You can believe that. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Charles writes, Grand Rises, Nathan the Choppers. Nappy Roots writes, good morning. Dare writes, can y'all hear anything? I can hear something. I can definitely hear something. Tiff writes, good morning. Let me see here. People saying, give me a thumbs up. Make sure you can hear the show this morning. Some people are saying some different things. Danina writes, we learned in the 80s that trickle-down economics don't work. Reaganomics taught us all that. Exactly. These motherfuckers still out here, still trying to do some damn trickle-down economics. Like, when does that ever work? The best way to put money in my pocket is not to give it to the person who I work for. That's not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is to give it straight to me. That is the absolute best way. Good morning to you. Deshauna writes, and she just celebrated Christmas and a birthday. She writes, good morning, Nathan and everyone. Have a great day and happy new year to come. I'll be asleep before midnight. Will you? TNT, she's laughing this morning. Good to see you, TNT. Janice writes, those who didn't know how our government works learned a lesson in 2020. Learned a lesson in 2020. What are you speaking of? You talking about with you talking with Trump? What do you mean by that? Michael writes, good morning. TNT writes, I never thought I would be making face masks for people across the country. Hey, hustling, getting it in. Smart. Joseph writes, remember seeing a few years ago people in China wear masks, and I thought that was weird. Yeah, all that stuff is all the stuff that we used to think the weird people did is now we're the weird people. Now we're doing it. It was always at least one, every once in a while you come across somebody with a mask on, you thinking, what the hell's wrong with them? What they got, right? It would stand out like a sore thumb. And I don't know about you, but I'd be like, damn, I'm gonna be crazy. Walk around here looking like a fucking fool, right? Now I'm thinking, them motherfuckers were smart. I guarantee you in a year from now, people will still be wearing masks. Anybody want to take me up on that bet? I bet you 100 pennies. I bet you 100 pennies that in a year from now, people will still be wearing masks. No, 100% on that. No doubt about it. In mass. Even if we're like working toward herd immunity, because some humans are never going to trust it. Like there's some people that don't trust the vaccine. There's some people that when they say, oh, we got herd immunity, and reports come out that COVID infection rates are going down dramatically, they're not going to believe it. It's on them. Michael writes, the Senate is the power. Good morning. Good morning to you, Michael. TNT writes, how are they selfish with our money? That's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. This is tax dollars. But you already starting to hear the Republicans make that pivot. Now they're going to become super stewards of taxpayer dollars, right? It's our job to make sure that we oversee every single penny. You're ready for it. I mean, the hypocrisy is going to be super thick, but it's what they do. You know what I'm saying? It's what they do. You should be used to it at this point. Get used to it. They're going to be super penny pinching with Joe Biden in office. That's why, Georgia is so important. Michael writes, tax breaks and PPP loans are the rich people stimulus. Yep. Because they already got the money. That's when to keep more of it and pay less back into the government. I get it. Trump tax breaks ends for everyone else, but the rich tax breaks are permanent. The wealthy looking out for the wealthy, right? Nobody said, you know what? These people don't need tax breaks. Nobody said that. Like if you bring that up in the context of it, people will say, well, it's our money. Same thing with these tax dollars. Michael writes, all those homicides, but no major gun bust. Gun bust? I mean, listen, they could take all the guns off the streets. And guess what? More guns are going to get on the streets. And that's because we haven't figured out a way to hold the gun manufacturers responsible so that they can do everything on their end, even if it costs them more money. So they can do everything on their end to ensure that the product that they are producing does not fall into the wrong hands. But, I brought this up before, and even black people have argued with me. It ain't the gun manufacturer's fault. That's dumb, Nate. I'm looking at them like, so what's your big plan? Buybacks. Bright idea. Great idea. Naisha writes, good morning. Good to see you. Kush writes, good morning, Nate and the Mighty Choppers. Salute. Good morning to you. Naisha writes, random. I want to see black people treated better in 2021. I do too, Naisha, but it begs a question. By whom? By whom? Like, who do you want to see black people be treated better by? By non-black people or by other black people? Because if I was going to take that statement and run with it, I would say we should start with the black family first. That's that's a loaded statement right there. I want to see black people treated better in 2021. Again, by who? By other black people? That's a black family problem. By non-black people, you talking about the Karens and the Darrens? Oh, never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. When we rebuild Black Wall Street, you're still going to have to deal with white resentment. There's nothing that black people can do that's ever going to mollify or satisfy Karens and Darrens. Karen Darren and Darren, the unambiguously racist duo that we've seen all these videos of over the year. I've got some video for you that you might find quite interesting, actually. I'll play it for you in a minute. But there's nothing, bump them, man. We got to work on ourselves. So I want to see black people be treated better by black folks in 2021. And in this city as well. We can start in Cincinnati, where there's still a bit of a problem. Let me see. Michael writes, Netflix and chill with the wifey, though. That's for tonight. Alcohol, eating like a fat man. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. In moderation, Janice writes, we've seen the power our elected reps have over our lives, and ultimately why voting wisely and in every election, local, state, federal, is critical. Janice is on point. So on point. She's so on point. Brian writes, all these mofos will be doing is paying the power companies and the landlords anyway. They could have put a moratorium on rent and utilities for 6 months, then paid those companies, which they do anyway. They could have given 5-year tax breaks to companies in exchange for the moratorium. They could have done a lot of kinds of things. Instead, things to keep people home. Instead, they handed out money through an eyedropper, forcing people work and increasing the spread exponentially. They have no interest in creative solutions. They just don't care about your life. I can't say he's wrong. Marcia writes, good morning. TNT writes, check and check and check. Michael writes, the weed man probably already sold out. Yeah, this is a big day for the weed man. It's a big day. I'm sure the weed man has been working overtime during COVID. It's like I told you, listen, just sit back and watch. COVID shows you a whole lot about human nature. Whole lot. Number one, it doesn't take a lot to shake some people. Don't take a whole lot to shake Americans. All you got to do is push us out of the orbit of our usual routine. And a lot of people get shook real quick. Secondly, man, just think about the alcohol and the wine and the beer sales. It's through the roof. Mofos making big money off that and drugs. And you know that weed is no different. So I can only imagine. Jasmine's in the house. Okay, this saying check. Okay. So the audio issues with the start of the show. Okay, great. Good. Jihad writes, Trump's lame duck presidency position, he's executing inmates. Check it out. Yes, he is. But, these were inmates who were scheduled to die previous to this, right? I don't think it was set up to be in unit to sync up with the end of his term. It's their time. I don't believe in the death penalty. I keep saying it. I don't believe in it in 2020. I don't believe it in 2021. I don't care if you got a suspect where there's kids involved. I don't care if it's a brutal murder. I'm not with the death penalty at all. And the reason why I'll say it again is because Too many innocent, and one innocent life is worth 1,000 um, uh, uh, guilty people. One innocent life is worth 1,000 guilty people, in my opinion. 10,000, 1,000,000 guilty people. Like, if the state and these executions are executed by the particular state in which the homicide or the murder took place in, but there's just been too many people that's sitting in death row or federal prison for 20, 30, 15, 10, you name it, years, only to be exonerated. I mean, we don't even know how many people have been executed and they didn't do the crime. So it's been found that people have been executed, and then they find out later on, like, oops, my bad. The real culprit comes forward, right? A little too late now, buddy. So it ain't worth it. Just lock these mofos up for the rest of their natural lives. That's a fate that's worse than death. And then don't let them out. Being incarcerated, the human body, the human experience, that's a fate worse than death. Keep them in a box, for the rest of their lives. You don't never get out of here unless you're going to die through natural causes. That's it. You don't never get that chance to get out of here. That's good enough. I don't know, but everybody wants to play God. Joe Dieter's out here, we're going to go for the death penalty. Like that means he's a big dude, right? Naisha writes, I'm chilling with my 2 kids. Drop writes, will desperate Democrats and their willing accomplices in the lamestream media acknowledge the 74 million Americans who voted against the Biden-Harris administration? Not Trump will never go away. Y'all mofos always want to be acknowledged. Acknowledge you motherfucking ass for what? You ain't did it shit. You lost. Buster, go sit down. Come on, I'm sick of let's leave that whole idea in 2020. You mofos running around here talking about y'all want to be acknowledged. We see you. Yeah. The big red noses. Yeah. Juggling on top of a big ass, water balloon. We see you, clowns. We see you. Which one has to do with you? We see y'all. Everybody want to be acknowledged these days. We see you. So what? Yeah, he got 74 million Americans to buy into his BS. Okay. We see you. Michael writes, face mask, the new hustle. Yeah, it is. Jane's in the house. She writes, good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. Aunt writes, oh, for sure. Letty writes, happy heavenly birthday to my sister, Rebecca. Happy Kwanzaa, Nathan Ivey and the Choppers. May this day be joyous and prosperous for all. Remember to keep God first. Spend time to learn to love yourself and your family and close friends. And please say a prayer for Nylon, Lattimore, and Gabe, Thais family. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, what she just said. Doubling down on that. Here. Let me see. Is it Pay Hamler? What's up? She writes facts. Let's see. Lemmy writes. I said she. I don't want to be wrong about that. I can't see the picture there, Hamler. Lemmy writes, yes, people will still wear a mask. Absolutely. Naisha writes, reparations. We ain't getting no reparations until we put together the political grassroots organizations that's going to make it happen. It's not going to happen with Biden-Harris. If anybody thinking Biden's going to start pushing for reparations, I'm just saying I would be really shocked. I don't really see that. Aunt writes, I think wearing masks will become a common thing from here on out, even after COVID. I agree. That's what I've been saying. I've been saying it for months. This ain't going away. For the rest of your lifetime, depending on how old you are, you're going to see a significant portion of your fellow Americans wearing a mask. Get ready. And it's probably smart to do it, because then what happens, you got to start thinking, well, I don't want to catch, this is COVID-19, right? People going to start thinking, I don't want to catch COVID-20. I don't want to catch COVID-21, COVID-22. Let me get out ahead of it and just wear a mask. It's just too easy. Watch. Lemmy writes, Mitch is a mess. Kevin writes, people hate wearing masks, period. Why? Some of y'all look better with a mask on. I'm just saying. Some of y'all look much better with a mask on. Put that mask on. Oh, yeah. Take it off. Oh, no. All right. Put it back on again. Nicole writes, the air feels funny everywhere except near my home. I don't know how I'm going to react when we don't have to wear face masks anymore. It's going to feel so weird. Thank you for that honesty, TNT. See, like I told you, there's going to be a significant portion of the American population that's never going back. Because why? Masking up is just so easy. And if the difference between me getting something that nobody knows about yet and not getting it is wearing a mask, I might as well just keep it masked up. She said the air feels funny. The air feels funny. That is hilarious. Dale writes, in Wisconsin, a hospital nurse intentionally did not refrigerate 500 vials of vaccine. 500 gone destroyed, whether you trust it or not. That is not your choice. Why does she do that? She should be fired. Naisha writes, whites. Whites. This must be a black talk show. Whites. I know the whites. Famous oh man, that's a famous black comic line right there. Dave Chappelle. I know the whites. Janice writes, what I meant was most people did not know how the government functions until this year. Trump has dragged us all through each facet. Yes, he has. Well, maybe it's something good to come out of it. We'll see. We'll see. If it don't manifest in votes in the midterm, in these critical elections, don't matter. Drop writes, the new phrase for 2021 for the Democrats will be, it was worse than we thought. Democrats, you won. Now time to be held accountable. Well, look at Drop trying to get out ahead and put some political messaging out there for his party leader, Trump. He follows Trump, right? He worships at Trump's altar because Trump is at the head of his party, right? Whatever when you go to the Republican altar, you're going to see a black man with a referee's whistle around his neck, and he's got his phone in his hand because he's always videotaping when he's walking. He's got some Sauconys on, some walking shoes. And he's praying at the altar of the Republican Party. That's Drop. Get out of here with that nonsense, man. Michael writes, your oppressor doesn't love you. You've to show the world, love yourself first. I'm with you on that one. Glenn writes, preach, native starts at home. Absolutely. Michael writes, the devil will never love you. Oh boy. Lemmy writes, everyone treat everyone better. Let's all do better. I'm with that. TNT writes, we have to love ourselves first and everyone else will follow. Absolutely. Anthony writes, morning choppers. Nathan, agree with treating each other better. I agree with that. Alien hackers write, what's time now in your country? What's up, alien hackers? Oh boy. Not the alien hackers. No. Drop writes, desperate Democrats, let my people go. Oh boy. Deshauna writes, folks got them checks yesterday. I was in a hair store buying a hat. It was so crowded and mass kids was in there and the counters was full of hair. LOL. Man, was it a black-owned hair store at the very least? I mean, unless you got bills that just like pressing, you got to make a commitment to spend some of that money with black-owned businesses. Don't just run straight to, leaving our culture, leaving our neighborhood to throw that money in somebody. It's just too easy to find black businesses these days and find stuff. You go on Facebook, you don't go online. It's too easy. You trying to buy some hair? I'm sure somewhere somebody is selling hair. I'm pretty sure of that. TNT writes, and now you got all these drop shipping. That's like a way people been hustling right now. They've been doing it for a while now. You can make a lot of money in drop shipping. Man, these people have started a drop ship store, a Shopify store just like this and be selling you some hair. So find it there. 2020 showed that there are a lot of brainwashed people who will follow a fool just to win. Yeah. Oh yeah. Most def. Yeah, most def. What's funny is that for years and years and years, they used to try to run this thing down on the black community. They used to try to run it down on the black community like the black community was anti-intellectual. Oh, black people will ridicule you if you're smart. In the urban center, it doesn't pay to be smart. BS. BS. Total BS. Took a few examples and ran with it and tried to use that to explain the whole culture. You can't do that, B. Yeah, they try to do that. But see, Trump showed us that just the opposite is true. These mofos run around here following this nincompoop, this nitwit, simply because he appears to have made a lot of money. And again, in our culture, if the appearance of wealth can be the most attractive thing in the world, if you want to catch people's attention, all you got to do is flash some cash, or show them your house, or show them your car, show them your jet, show them a stack of money. You got them. You got them. That's the reason why these preachers, as much as people criticize these preachers as be running around here trying to make money off God, they already understand the game. Like if they was walking in there looking like everybody, then you wouldn't think that they're special. Because they got big time mansions and big money, and therefore what for a lot of people will say is success. That's the reason why people follow them. That's all you got to do. And that's what Trump did. Trump's running around here. Well, he's a businessman, so we're going to get something different now. We've had politicians. Now we got a businessman, and he's going to bring that businessman. That motherfucker didn't come up with no ideas whatsoever. There was nothing new he came up with at all. He wasn't any better. In fact, he was a lot worse at choosing people to work in his cabinet. Look at all the people that went to jail. Look at all the scandals. But he's a businessman. He's a businessman because he's a businessman. People fall for that every single day, man. They fall for it every single day. And that's the reason why people do it. That's the reason why Trump does it. He loves to show off his wealth. Oh, I'm a billionaire. I'm successful. Because he knows that's going to capture and hold the attention of a significant amount of people out there. Like, oh, a wealthy man is talking. Well, let's pay attention. He must have got wealthy somehow. How'd he do it? He might make me wealthy. And that's how they get you every single time. Like some of these con people, man, if they was walking around here looking ordinary, you wouldn't trust them. But because they stand out, it's like, oh, must be on to something. Happens every single day. Alicia writes, in 2020, desperate treatment of black people by the police was on display for all to see. The rise of Karens and Darrens examined casual white supremacy and the policing of black bodies and lives. Well, it certainly did. I mean, for me, 2020 didn't tell me anything. It didn't teach me anything. What I learned in 2020 is that there are people in this city and around this country that are willing to storm the steps of City Hall and let power know how they feel. That's one of the comforting things I took from 2020. You remember you had people in the city that was going down to those public meetings and raising hell. I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it 100%. It's going to be interesting to see if this kind of energy stays up, how a new council is going to react to that. Because you'll check it. You know, when everything hit, by and large, you had a very experienced city council that was dealing with this. I mean, throughout this entire year in the city of Cincinnati, the vast majority of the people that were on city council were vets. You know, they were vets. You only had two people that were in their first term. And that was Tamaya Denard, who herself was still a vet of City Hall, working with PG Sittenfield in his office. But she was it was her first time as a member of council. And then you had Jeff Pastor. Other than that, all the other 7 people on council was all like, you know, before Amy Murray left, they were all experienced. So they dealt with this in a way that may be different than, let's say, somebody that's in their very first term for the first time. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be interesting to see if that energy stays up, how a new council is going to deal with that kind of pressure. It's going to be real interesting. Real interesting. TNT writes, acknowledge that they dumb as hell. Joe loved that death penalty, especially when it's brown faces. You talking about Joe Dieters? Oh yeah, he does. Oh yeah. That's another reason why I voted for Fernand Rucker, because Fernand Rucker took a strong stance and said he was against the death penalty. But you had white, female Karen Democrats who got in their feelings. They didn't do their homework, or at least the campaign of Fanon Rucker didn't reach them, probably due to money. So I told you it was going to take more than just lip service and people talking on the internet to get him elected, and I was right. It's going to take money. It is what it is. Janine writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Headed over to YouTube. There's still no sound here. Other audio was fine on Facebook. Did not just show. Danita writes, drop once a participation trophy. Okay. She says, sounds much better on YouTube. Okay, great. I'm glad I'm on YouTube. Lemmy writes, Nate, yes, Limit is a female GAW. Happy New Year. Limit is a... Limit, it wasn't Limit, though. It was somebody else I was asking about. It wasn't Lemmy. I know Lemmy. Michael writes, they smoking crack. Joe ain't got no love for that. Alicia writes, do you realize how many white people will embrace their hidden black ancestry if reparations were offered? I'd be mad if Karen and I got the same reparations. Yeah, I would. But you know what? When you get your reparations, you know, you got your pot. You got to spend that. Be a great day. It's going to take more than just a president, though. Much more. Janice writes, if we have been fully aware, we should have learned how our lives are intertwined and how each of our lives impact others. I'm with you on that. Michael writes, mask on, mask off. There you go. Drop writes, about 87% of black voters nationwide chose Biden over Trump, according to preliminary national exit polling. That was less than Hillary in 2016. 20 to 12% of black voters pulled the lever for Trump. Is that right? That's interesting. The political scientists will go through all of that and try to make sense out of it and create maps and projections and things like that. But it's what it is. Brent writes, I used to travel to Japan back in the early 2000s, and the Japanese would wear a mask if they had a cold. They are ahead of the curve. Smart people. But, you know, too many Americans are God's little selfish creatures. They don't give a damn about nobody but themselves. They don't give a damn. And that's what we learned. What we learned is that human beings are worse than the coronavirus. That's the number one thing that I learned this year. Like, oh, it's true. I used to always joke about it, but no, it's true. Human beings are worse than the coronavirus. We are probably the original virus. From the perspective of the earth, we're a bigger burden than coronavirus is. No doubt about it. 100%. Because y'all check it. I mean, just think about these people out here arguing about not wearing a mask. I still see these videos. Like within the last couple of weeks, I've seen about 2 videos, same deal, man. Mofos acting up, getting slammed, you know, wilding out in Walmart. That should be a name of a show, Wilding Out in Walmart. Literally wilding out in Walmart, arguing about not wearing a mask, you know, a whole bunch of dumb-ish. I'm like, damn, this is what you got time to do? And the videos, man, are just not promising. Like I saw a video of what appeared to be an Asian ER nurse, emergency room nurse, who tested positive for COVID-19 a week after he got the vaccine. See, as long as these kind of stories are out here, it's just going to breed a lack of confidence in the vaccine. The vaccine could be completely, you know, it could be completely, you know, safe. But, you know, people ain't going to trust it as long as you got these videos out here scaring the hell out of people. They're just not going to do it. And I wouldn't recommend they do it either. You know what I'm saying? Do you. Don't let these motherfuckers tell you what to do and what to wear, and don't let them do none of this. Check out this video right here. Here's a video of an anti-masker going off at the UPS store, okay? There is some extreme language in this. I want to give you a heads up, but I want you to hear this. This is the kind of ish that we're dealing with in 2020. Look at this.
And I would like to receive those.
You're holding up my process. I have to get out of here.
I'm not. He is. He's choosing to do that.
Ma'am, we cannot
Shut down
help
your
you.
phone.
We cannot help you,
I'm
ma'am.
not shutting down my phone.
Man, we cannot help you until you
This is
step
a
back
private
outside.
residence, and actually, I am restricting your recording, and so therefore, you are not allowed to do this.
I am actually.
This is nobody's residence. This is nobody's residence.
It isn't? Oh, apparently because I had 3 packages delivered here.
Where's your mask?
We will help you.
in
We
just
will
a
help
minute, man.
you
We
if
just
you
need
just
to
My
step
mask?
back outside.
I'm not a conformer. Why are
That's
you
fine.
wearing one?
Ma'am,
Because I
please step
feel
back
like
Why are
outside,
you
ma'am.
wearing
We will
one?
Because I'm
help you.
protecting everyone else
I've already
around me.
had COVID back on December 20th, 2019.
Can you go so we can finish?
Huh?
Can you go so we can finish?
Can you finish?
I can't because
No
you're
one's gonna
holding
help
up
you until you step
everybody.
back
Is she
outside.
the manager? Who's the manager?
No one's going to help
Who
you
is
until you
the
step back
manager?
outside.
Who is the manager? Who is
If you just,
No one's
Holding
gonna help
up
you until you step
everybody.
back outside.
she the manager? Who's the manager?
no one's going to help
Who
you
is
until you
the
step back
manager?
outside.
Who is the manager? Who is?
You're
You
talking
are.
to him.
Yes.
Why didn't you just say that?
So step back outside.
Why didn't you say that?
Where-
Where are my packages?
Because you are not.
Where are
you
my
breaking- you are breaking the
packages?
social
Who were
distancing
delivered
rules.
here
Ma'am.
several days ago, 5 days ago.
I will come out and help you if you just step back outside so we can.
Go ahead.
So we can.
Take care of her.
No,
Go ahead.
step outside.
Hi.
You will not be helped until you
Hi.
step outside.
Thank you.
Oh, no one's helping you until you step outside. If you want to break our social distancing rules, you are not going to be helped.
This is already 6 feet apart, dude.
No, you're not.
No, you're
Yes,
not.
this
Step
is.
back outside.
This
please.
is 6 feet apart.
At the end of the day,
and
man,
we're
we
wearing
can still only
masks.
have 3 people in
You're
the
not
store at a
wearing
time.
masks.
You are the 4th person to walk in.
We're conformers. I'm sorry you
Okay,
established
well,
that.
but regardless of that, man, we still need you to step back outside.
I have
because-
packages here
You
that
can
were
get-
delivered
and
to
we
me.
can
So
give them
this is
to
my
you.
right. This is my
We
private
can give them
property.
to you.
This
It is
is
not-
my
it is
right.
not-
So think about what she just said here. So on one hand, she said, I'll tell you what they should have did. I'll tell you what they should have did. What they should have did is just call the police. That's what they do. Just call the police. We ain't going back and forth. We ain't arguing back and forth about a goddamn thing. I'm going to tell you a couple times, ma'am, I told you. And then we call the police because I'm at work. I ain't got no time for all of that. And they were such good guys. The woman's logic didn't make any sense. Oh, you're a conformer. As if you're conforming to something that's just made up. Oh, they got you wearing a mask, boo. Oh, sweetie, aren't you cute? You cute little non-thinking human. Think for yourself, right? When I hear people say you're a conformer, that's what the implication is. Like, you can't think for yourself. You're just doing it because somebody told you to do it. There's no reason for you to do it. But she admitted that she had COVID. What? I'm trying to not catch the disease that you had last year. But see, it's that percentage of the population that's the real problem in this country. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. And don't think for 1 second that they're going anywhere. We're going to take them straight into 2021 with us. They coming with us. That's just the way it works. It's like a big traveling circus. Good morning to you. Billy writes, Nate, glad I'm married already. Getting tricked by the mask can be bad. That's for males and females. Getting tricked by the mask. You supposed to pull the mask down, take a look at what you're getting before you get to it, right? Good morning to you, Billy. Fernay writes that part. Lemmy writes, Trump has his own party, Trumpkin. Is that right? Danita writes, Black people can't even agree what reparations should look like. How can anything happen before that is established? Well, I don't know about that. I mean, we can agree that something's supposed to come. It might look like multiple things. It should look like multiple things. Because Black people were denied multiple things. We were denied access to multiple things. So the reparations should become in multiple ways. I'm down with all of it. Student loans, tax-free, interest-free loans, straight up cash payments. Just think, how could you ever get reparations when you got a Senate majority leader that don't even believe in COVID relief? So we got to put the reparations conversation to the side. How could we ever even talk about, you think Mitch McConnell would ever consider reparations for non-white people? This is just going to the descendant of slaves? Hell no. He would never do that. What makes you think he would do that? I don't see that happening. Not at all. That ain't going down. Sean's in the house. She writes, good morning, Nate and Choppers. Lemmy writes, Trump/bankruptcy. Nate, are we still going to hear from the Columbus police officer regarding her book, the thin black line? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That is my guess. Hold on, let me make sure I connect with her this morning. Absolutely. You already know. Hold on one second here. Let me make sure I connect with her this morning. You already know. You already know. Let's make sure she got all the information that she needs to give us a call this morning. You already know. Looking forward to that. Give me 1 second here. Hold up, Choppers. I'm looking for. That's hilarious. Okay, here we go. Give me 1 second. I don't mind doing it live. It is what it is. Okay, got you. All right. I'll let you know when she reaches out so we can get that. Let me write. New council is Republican. Is it now? I haven't run the number. So let me think here. So you have, I know they've got, you got 3 Republicans there. 3. And then here's something else to consider, and that is Chris Silbott. So he is running for mayor. So what does that mean? Is he going to have to step down in order to run for mayor? Right? I can't remember what happened with Yvette Simpson because she was a current member of city council when she ran for mayor. I thought she had to step down to run and then she was replaced. I could be wrong about that. I just don't remember. Toy writes, I hate when people use businessman to justify support for Trump. I know people who sold Tupperware, Mary Kay, and Legal Shield who are more business-minded than Trump. Absolutely. Janice writes, Trump is a glorified con man, pimp. He punked out and intimidated men and women. Absolutely. One part of Cube's CWBA was that you had to identify via the census or other means as African-American for at least 10 years to qualify for reparations. Makes sense to me. That's one way of doing it. Drop writes, I mailed a Christmas package to Arizona from California on December 14th, and it still has not been delivered. Really? Dale writes, see, this right here is the reason COVID will not lessen. This ish burns me up. Asshole. Tracy writes, my parents already got the vaccine. My stepmother only had a slight headache, but felt better the next day. Arm was just like flu vaccine. It is a 2-part vaccine, 28 days to get the second part. Okay. Hopefully you can hear me now. Yeah. Mike. I got it. I wouldn't have called the police. Her ass would have been standing there. No. You don't let her stand there. No, she got to leave the premises because without a mask on, she becomes a public safety risk. It's about public health. So no, she don't get to stand there, and we don't want to hear all that nonsense. I don't want to hear all of that. I'm here, I'm working at UPS. I'm trying to get these packages done. I'm looking up at the clock like, damn, I got 6 hours left. Do you want to come in here? Now, it could be a form of like entertainment for a little while, but nah, man, we ain't got time for that. We ain't got no time for that. I'm not here for it. 513-873-7134. Let's go straight to the phones and welcome in my first call this morning. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Mr. Ivey, I am pissed off. Mr. Ivey, I have been sitting here listening to you drag my name through the mud in the name of your defense of the desperate Democrats. How dare you, sir? How dare you say those evil, mean things about the only Black Republican that has found a way to survive and thrive in the Nathan Ivey Show Chop Shop? I demand an apology immediately. Crickets?
Are you
I wish
serious?
I could see your face. I wish I could see your face because my little in-screen video of you has frozen because I'm talking to you on the phone, but I'll watch it later. Mr. Ivey, I can't believe you. I post some facts in your chop shop on on the YouTube chat room. I put in facts and you call me deranged, delusional. Get out of here with that nonsense. Who do you think you are? You think you Mason Mahler? Mr. Ivey, was I witnessing overseer tendencies coming out of Nathan Ivey? Is this what the listeners are going to have to expect in 2021? Say it ain't so, Mr. Ivey. Please tell me you ain't going down the road of the Negro whisperer for Sleepy Joe and Kamala Black Y'all Harris. Say it ain't so, Mr. Ivey, because you were quite vigorous in your defense this morning of the desperate Democrats. You ain't talking about no tangibles and holding them accountable. You giving them a pass already. Well, it ain't gonna happen with me. I'm coming, and I'm coming strong. I've been holding this back since November the 4th because I said I'm gonna hold my powder. I'm gonna wait until 2021. But after listening to you this morning, Mr. Ivey, I don't know what to say. So I think I'm gonna stop talking because I said a lot on this final broadcast of the Nathan Ivey Show for 2020. And before I go, I would like to nominate Tracy for her excellent raconteur skills. For some people, that means a storyteller. Some of her stories in 2020 were timely. They were on point. Her cadence when she speaks. I love Tracy when she tells her stories. So I nominate Tracy for the 2020 Caller of the Year for the Nathan Ivey Show. And since the Gilligan of the Year no longer exists, we're going to call it the Mr. Cleosis of the Year Award in the Nathan Ivey Chop Shop. And we all know who it is. Glenn from Mason. Glenn, where you at, Glenn? Glenn, did I trigger you yet, Glenn? Because Mr. Ivey, you triggered me. So I ain't going to take up no more of your time, Mr. Ivey. And like I said, 2020 is in the rearview mirror. We looking forward now. So Sleepy Joe and Kamala Black Y'all Harris and Barack Obama, get ready for your third term, brother, because reparations is in your hands. Or has your black card expired? Drop squad 52. Happy New Year, everybody, and be safe in them streets. I'll see you in 2021. Peace.
I don't know what that black man was talking about, but no, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Again, 513-873-7134 if you like to share your thoughts this morning. That brother's got problems. That's all I can say. That brother, he's got problems. He's trying to stir the pot this morning. And then I'll name the awards unless you put it out there. You don't get to name the awards. You're not doing the Mr. Cleophas award. That can be your award, but no. As far as caller of the year, I did think about that. I did think about whether I would throw that out this morning. Do we need to have a caller of the year on the Nathan Ivey Show? If so, who would that be? Who would be the caller of the year or the commenter of the year? Right? Because in this particular format, we get way more comments than we do calls. Now, the calls are going to be up front and center. Everybody's going to hear it because, you're elevated and amplified. I get it. But tell me what you think. Who would be, I'm curious, who would be the caller of the year for the Nathan Ivey Show? Who would be the commenter of the year? A few names come to mind, but I'll let you make that decision. You tell me what you think. 513-873-7134 if you'd like to share your thoughts this morning. So I am awaiting to be joined by a guest. Her name is Melissa McFadden. She wrote a book titled Walking the Thin Black Line, Confronting Racism in the Columbus Division of Police. Melissa McFadden, it's a memoir. She's a Black female, and she spent many years serving as a Columbus police officer. And so we'll get a chance to talk with her hopefully this morning. And we're trying to make the connection right now. And I'm hoping that'll be a Zoom call. We'll see. You never know. We haven't tested this connection, but hopefully we'll have a stable enough connection where we can do a Zoom call this morning and talk with Melissa McFadden. Looking forward to that. It should be very, very interesting. Yeah, very interesting. And what's kind of dope is that in the acknowledgments of her book, the first person she acknowledges is her husband. I'm telling you, a strong team, strong results. If you get married, marriage is a business. It is a business. It's the business of human interaction long term. It is the business of human interaction long term. What's the point of being in a long-term relationship with somebody if you don't produce anything? And I'm not just talking about offspring. What's the purpose? Because you can have offspring with anybody, and many people do. Marriage in the new millennium, it should be looked upon as a business. For Black people, it should be looked upon as a business. Yeah, you want to marry somebody that you love, but that's not where the criteria stop. It don't stop there. It starts. Maybe it starts with love, but who out here, what adult out here is getting married on 100% just love? You can love a lot of people. I do not believe in the concept of a soulmate. I don't believe in that concept. That's some of that grown-up Cinderella fairy tale bullshit. That's what that is. The fact of the matter is, they might be compatible with a lot of different people out there. I'll say it again. It's a lot of people. You might be thinking, what does it mean, wife? I marry who I married. I'm loved. We committed. We partners. But it's a billion people out here. I mean, come on now. Keep it real. Marriage is a business. Hold on, as I'm getting... Let's see, here we go. Hold on, I'm texting back and forth with Melissa McFadden. Okay, so she's having some issues connected with us this morning. I'm working on two things. I'm conversing with her via text. I'm trying to walk her through that process a little bit, and then of course talking with you as well. Okay, we'll do it this way then. Hold on, give me 1 second here. Choppers, want to make sure I get this guest in this morning and speak with her because she's got limited time. Hold on on one second here. Sorry about this. Okay. All right, we good. We good. She got what she need. So hopefully we'll get a call. Now, again, if it doesn't work out, because I think she's on the road, then I will try to reschedule it for as soon as I can. As soon as I can, I'll try to reschedule it. But we are in the process of trying to make that happen right now. Just pointing out, his tenure identifying as African Americans would limit the amount of people who tried to claim Black heritage at the 11th hour, right? Toy Rice 2020 revealed how rampant cognitive limitations are. Exhibit A, I hand packages delivered here. This is a private residence. I don't have to wear a mask. I'm not a conformist, shaking my head right. Yeah, the woman in that video was all over the place. You at the UPS store talking about it's a private residence because you have packages delivered there. And then the other thing is that when you're in the public, the courts have already established this. And, you know, somebody set me straight if I'm wrong, but they've already established that you don't have a right to privacy in public. So, yeah, you might show up on a video here or there. Yeah, you can be videoed. You can't say, I don't give you the right. You can say that, but there is no, as I understand it, no legal right that you have for somebody not to videotape you when you're in public. Same thing with the police. You're in public. I'm supposed to act like I don't see you? I can see you. You're standing right there. Let me see. Daryl writes, I think he's talking to Brent. Janice writes, I hear him fine. Great, Janice. I'm great. The Lamedio writes, Black women are waging a silent war against Black men. Black women are waging a silent war against Black men. Really? Where are they doing this at? Really? Now, I think there's a low level. I respect, I stand by what I said. I think it was Kevin Samuels. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. He said that there's a low level of disrespect toward Black men and contempt and disrespect. I agree with that. There is a low level of contempt and disrespect toward Black men from some Black women, not all of them, but from some. Some of it has to do with stuff that happened to them. Something that happened to them from either their father or the father of their children or whatever. And so they bring that out on other folks. Okay, hold on one second here. I think that we got Melissa McFadden backstage, y'all. Oh, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this. I'm super excited. Look, we in Cincinnati, Ohio. So what happens in the state of Ohio, we all over it. And so it was a listener that told me about this book. Her book is titled Walking the Thin Black Line, Confronting Racism in the Columbus Division of Police. Now, if you have any issues, if you're on the audio side of things, you might want to jump over to Facebook and YouTube to make sure you can watch this video and make sure you can hear everything, okay? But with no further ado, I want to bring Melissa McFadden on. I know that her time is short this morning. Hey, Melissa, how are you?
Hi, thank you so much for having me on the show.
Oh, it is absolutely my pleasure, and I'm glad we were able to sync up this morning. And I know your time is short, so I want to hit the ground running and get straight into it. But again, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So tell us the book. I just went through the title again, but you can share it again. Tell us all about the book and what led you up to writing this particular book.
Well, the book is called Walking the Thin Black Line, and in 2017, I had false allegations lodged against me because I stood up for a Black female, and I helped her file a discrimination complaint inside the Columbus Police Department. And after I did that, a commander, it's in the book, but anyway, so I had a commander, partially reported a commander for retaliating against this female Black. And as a result, the commander got moved from her position. So they came after me and retaliated against me and put false allegations on me. I won that. They were not sustained, so I didn't get any discipline or anything. But after that, throughout my whole career, I've been fighting for change inside, but I went public and I started fighting in the public eye. And I had a group of pastors that I asked to help me. And it wasn't until I wrote everything down, the things that I wanted changed, that they really sign on and really get motivated. So even with them helping me, the change has not come fast enough for the division. So I decided I can move the pastors to action, writing those 7 expectations down, then maybe if I wrote something and told the citizens what actually is going on inside, how they treat Black officers, as well as how they treat Black community, maybe that will move them to action as well, and something actually can change. So that's what made me write the book, because I wanted to expose the Columbus Police Department for the things that they were doing and the systemic racism inside and how they treat Black officers, as well as how they treat Black citizens.
Well, I'm here for all of that. I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio. So anything that happens with this state in particular to our community, I'm all on it. And as you know, the Columbus Police Department has been front and center. This book is very, very timely in terms of the shootings of unarmed Black folks. So, again, thank you for your time. So what led you to the force? Are you born and raised in Columbus? Tell us a little about your background.
Well, I actually was born and raised in West Virginia, Beckley, West Virginia. And I graduated from Woodrow Wilson High School there, and I went into the Air Force. And then once I went in the Air Force, my mom moved here with my sister. So when I got out the Air Force, when I was honorably discharged, I came back here. So that's how I got to Columbus. And I always wanted to be a police officer since I was 14. In my book, I talk about how I got on the department, how I always wanted to be a police officer. I actually compare how the military is and how the police departments, how they operate, to make sure people can see the comparison to how we operate here. I talk about the cover-up culture that we have in policing. And my book, to me, it actually is a book that can apply to any police department, because it's the same policing. It's the same systemic racism that goes on. The Black community is targeted by police. All that's in the book. But I came from West Virginia, born and raised, and I always credit my mom. She did not raise a punk. And so when they came after me, I fought them, and I continue to fight for changes inside.
Mm-hmm. How long were you on the police force before you started to notice, like, wait a minute, something ain't right here?
Well, actually, at the very beginning, I noticed there was some racism I noticed the cover-up culture at the very beginning, and I reported some people, and I got retaliated against. So after that, I just started watching and started seeing how they treat other people, and I've been fighting ever since. I have a current lawsuit pending, and this is my second lawsuit. I filed my numerous of EEO discrimination complaints. So I've been in the fight for many, many years. But I noticed, like, exactly when I was on field training, when I was on my coaching, my very first year, I noticed the cover-up culture and retaliation I experienced.
Did you ever think about, like, when you noticed it early on, did you ever think, like, let me get out of this? Maybe this is not where I need to be. What was your attitude about it? Was it kind of like, I'm going to deal with it from within, or is it like, hey, it's not me, or?
It just seemed like a fight. Okay, so like I said, my mom raised me to be strong. So it was just like, this is a career that I always wanted, and I'm not going to let anyone push me out of this career. So my fight was to maintain and keep on my path that I felt God had a purpose for me. And all the while, as I'm going through my years, I'm praying for God to deliver me and other Black officers in the community from the stuff that I've seen and I know that goes on. But I didn't realize that He was preparing me to be the one to help fight that piece, to help be the deliverer when it comes to the whole nonsense that goes on inside.
Interesting. So what's the difference between Black cops and white cops that you saw on the Columbus police force?
Well, there's not really a difference in them in a sense of, because we're all trained in the same way. But I think there are some Black officers that actually fall for the systemic issues that I see. They're indoctrinated. And it's really easy to fall victim to that. Because I remember one time I was on patrol and I saw 3 male Blacks walking on the sidewalk. And as I look at them, I'm like, what are they up to? I had to catch myself. I literally had to say, wait a minute, why would they be up to anything? Why can't they just walk on the sidewalk? So you can easily fall victim to that, even as a Black officer. So it's not really necessarily individual officers, it's the system that trains us to look at Black men or Black people as criminals. Like for many, many years, we used to shoot at Black silhouette targets. You get all the points if you get it on the Black, no points if you get it on the white. Many, many years in our training academy, we have videos showing us suspects, they would all be Black. So all these little things increases our implicit bias. And that's the problem. Because we're already in our environment growing up, we're exposed to environments that cause our implicit bias towards different groups of people. So when you become a police officer, they increase your implicit bias towards African Americans. They make you think that we're all criminals. They make you think that we're all suspects. When you walk in some of the substations, all you see on the wall is black male faces. So that's eventually, day after day, seeing that, it's going to make you influence your thinking subconsciously about Black people. So I don't necessarily think that all these officers shooting around the country are racist, overtly racist. Subconsciously, they don't realize their implicit bias is what's making them think that this Black person has a gun when he actually doesn't. Or when this Black person's a threat when they're actually not, because how we're indoctrinated.
Mm-hmm. Is the indoctrination, in your opinion, within the Columbus Police Department, is it all nonverbal? Is there any verbal indoctrination? I mean, in your opinion, how do police talk about the Black people that they serve behind closed doors?
Well, see, because I am who I am, they're not going to talk about it in front of me. So I'm not privy to those conversations. But I believe that it's verbal and nonverbal, depending on what they're indoctrinating you. And there's a part in my book, I talk about a training class I'm at, and they're talking about a felony stop, like he committed a robbery, and how to stop a person that's in a car that committed a felony. And there's a certain way we have to train on that. So in this scenario, it was white officers training us. But in this scenario, they were they kept describing the suspect as having his head on backwards, if his music's up too loud, if his pants is sagging. So to me, they put it, because at the time, it was back in, I think, a year on. So it was back in 97, 98. It was what Black culture was doing at the time, playing our music loud, our heads were on backwards. So in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, he just described it like it was a Black person. And when he pulled him out the car, he said, "Get out here, boy. Come out here, boy." And that made me like, wow. So I wrote a letter about it and told him, if it's a grown adult, you're calling a boy. If he's African American, there's racial connotations to that. So I wrote about that in my book as well. So these type of things they do is verbal and nonverbal. It's both. And when it comes to brutality, it's like if somebody hits you as an officer. I've heard sergeants say, your supervisor comes out to the scene, and I heard him punch. If that's supposed to be, I'm sorry, that threw me off. But anyway, so they'll say, if the person you punch them back, and you had them back, and you lock them up, and you put them in handcuffs, they say, hey, the next time, I expect that suspect to go to the hospital. That kind of stuff they tell you. So it's not enough just to handcuff them, get them handcuffed. They hit you. So the expectation is they shouldn't be going to jail at this moment. They should be beat down to the point where they go to the hospital. That's the kind of indoctrination that is stated verbally.
Wow. Well, what other ways is the indoctrination, put out there? I mean, that's one example, but I'm very curious. I mean, because what I've seen is it's very rare for officers to check other officers in the moment. Like when they see something happen, like when they're handling a suspect or when they're in the process of arresting someone. Is that an unwritten, or maybe it's a written rule or something that's verbalized, that when an officer is dealing with a situation, you kind of stay out of it and then they'll stay out of your situation?
Because we all have our independent authority, and I have the ability to arrest just like somebody, even the person that's been on 40 years. We both have the same level of authority. And it's kind of it's an unwritten rule that it's like in the Black community, they have the no snitching rule. It's the same thing here. You're not supposed to tell on your other fellow officers. You just learn that over time. It's just the way it is. It's a cover-up culture, and investigations aren't properly done. They do them, they slant them in a way to make you. If they want you to be guilty, they slant it to make you guilty. If they want you to be innocent, they slant it to make you innocent. That's how they do our internal investigations on officers. Mm-hmm. So it's just what it is. I worked in internal affairs for 3 years. It's just what it is.
Refresh my memory, Melissa. And again, if you're just tuning in, Melissa McFadden is our guest. She's the author of a new book titled Walking the Thin Black Line, Confronting Racism in the Columbus Division of Police. What was the last year that you were a member of the Columbus Police Division?
Today, I work there now.
You work there now. Oh, so are you surprised? I mean, what can you say about, the shootings that have been taking place in Columbus?
Well, because I cannot speak on an active investigation, being that I'm an active officer, and as I'm speaking to you as a private citizen,
Okay.
not as a police officer. Because if I say something and it misconstrues it, they'll say that I'm messing with the investigation. So I don't want to speak on those specific things.
Well, damn, you brave, sis. You out here writing books about you brave, sis. You out here writing books about the thin black line and confronting racism, and you still on the force?
I am.
What are you getting backlash?
Yes, I'm getting retaliated against, but I expected it, and I'm prepared for it. But at the end of the day, it's my First Amendment rights, and I have every right to expose the things that I see going on in here. And if I don't do it, then no one will ever know. And so it's important for me to get that message out. So we need some changes made, and we need them made now. So I work every day, and I come here every day to the division, and I do my job. And since I wrote the book, I've had 3 complaints filed on me. Of people that's names in the book, they're mad because I had to put names in the book. There's real names in the book because they already going to say that I'm lying, right? But it's hard to say you're lying if you have real people's names in the book, because you can go ask those people, did this happen? Did you do that? So that's why it was for credibility purposes. So they can't say, well, she's lying.
Wow.
She put all these anonymous names in here. No, there's real names in there, up to including my chief's name.
Where can people purchase the book this morning?
The book is on Amazon for $9.99. That's where they can purchase it. Mm-hmm.
Wow. And what division are you currently working in with the Columbus Police Department?
As a lieutenant, I'm the highest ranking female Black on the department. And I work in family crimes, where I'm over domestic violence, missing and exploited children, and physical abuse units.
Okay.
I just got that job in March. I was in patrol before then.
So you've been rising in the department. Okay, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I've been a lieutenant for 6 years, but it's sad there's only 3 Black African-American lieutenants and higher on our department. Out of 75 supervisors, there's only 3 Blacks.
Whoa. So what about the rank and file? What are we looking at in terms of diversity in that regard?
You're looking at 10 to 11% African-American. So you got like 180, 190 African-Americans out of 1,900 officers.
Wow. Is that the problem?
Yes.
Is it a simple numbers game?
Yes, major problem.
So in Cincinnati, we have
by design.
By design. In Cincinnati, we have something called the Sentinels. And of course, all the officers are represented by the FOP here, the police union. But there's another organization called the Sentinels that specifically represents the non-white officers, right? Is there something similar to that in the Columbus Police Division?
There used to be, but because of so much retaliation and things like that, there's not an organization any longer. I mean, they're still in existence, but no one belongs to it because there's so much retaliation from that organization. So basically now, a lot of African Americans belong to NOBLE, which is the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives. It's a national organization, and they have a chapter here. So that's what we belong to, but it's not a union. So mostly everybody's represented by the FOP. I got out the FOP in August because the president said there was no systemic racism inside the Division of Police. So I could no longer be a part of that organization if you're going to deny the reality for some of your members. So you just told all the Black members that you don't care that there's systemic racism because you don't believe it exists. So I think that's not representing us properly. So I revoked my membership. Oh,
man. So does that mean you represent yourself now or in negotiation? How's that work?
The funny thing is, because I'm a bargaining unit member, they still have to represent me the same exact way that they have to represent everybody else. I just don't have to pay.
You just don't have to pay dues. Okay. Okay. Winning and winning.
Yeah,
wow.
They have to represent me the same exact way.
Yeah, I agree with my audience. They're like, sis is brave. It's one thing to write the book and you've been off the force many years. It's a number when you're a current member of the force and got to go to work every day. And you should do a book giveaway.
Because I have actually, I did a book signing right in front of headquarters last month.
Did you?
I did because I'm in drop. I'm eligible to retire because I bought military time back. So in October 2018, I became eligible to retire. So if they do something to me, I'll be okay financially. So I'm able to speak out because I'm okay financially. A lot of times officers don't speak out. Black officers want to speak out, but they can't speak out because they'll be retaliated against. It's as simple as stuff like wanting a day off. They can deny you a day off without telling you why. So you don't, just little things like that. And they don't want people to come after them and take their livelihood away. Because remember, they got to feed their families. So a lot of times people don't see that the Black officers, we are about Black Lives Matter because it's our Black lives we're talking about, my Black son and my Black husband. So we are very much into seeing that and believing in that. But to stand out and speak up is hard because they will come after you.
So has anybody else come out with you and stood next to you on the force? Like,
I've had a lot of officers behind the scenes text me. I've had retirees support me. But a lot of officers have come behind the scenes and supported me in my book. They have before, when I was with the pastors, I had several officers stood with me. They went to the pastors with me, like 20 officers, Black officers, to tell their story. They just don't want to be on record because that's when they can be retaliated against, when they find out who they are. They've had officers write anonymous letters to the city, to the mayor's office, trying to get change. So we've had a lot of different things that have occurred prior to me writing the book.
So as a private citizen, you know, that's the way you're speaking this morning. Because I want to mix in your thoughts about these current events that's happening, that there's been 2 shootings, but as a private citizen, and then would you say, or do you believe that, you know, some of the issues that are in this book have manifested in some of these incidences that we've seen, where you see unarmed people getting shot?
Yes. Real quick, I saw one of the comments asking me any white officers. Yes, I had many white officers come tell me or send me messages in support. Matter of fact, some white officers even wrote anonymous letters talking about how the division participates in discrimination, female white officers specifically. So yes, I've had white officers, but I do believe that the way the Black officers are treated inside is a direct reflection of how the Black community is treated on the outside. I believe those 2 things are connected. I believe these shootings in Columbus are connected to our training, to what I talk about in my book. They're directly related. Because if you can mistreat me and I'm supposed to be blue, a citizen don't have a chance. If you can lie on me and I'm blue, I'm supposed to be blue, a citizen has no chance. Cops lie. That's what they do. We're allowed to lie. We're just not allowed to get caught.
Can you speak more to that? I mean, what situation?
We lie on paperwork. We lie on people. We lie in investigations. We're not truthful people. We're just not. When I speak, I'm not talking about all cops. I'm talking about the general system, how the system operates. So they know that certain things don't add up when they write their paperwork. Like I might search your car first, but then I say in my paperwork that you gave me consent when you didn't. Little things like that. Or it might have been a different way because the law requires a certain way first to have certain reasonable suspicion and probable cause to do certain things. And we might not have that at first, but we say we do, or certain things happen in a different order, but in our paperwork, we put it in the right order. We have boilerplate language we use to make sure everything always turns out okay. So I'm just saying, it's a cover-up culture. We take care of each other. We like to be liked, so we don't want to be the one to cause anybody any harm. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how it is. It's hard to explain, but my book talks about that as well.
Mm-hmm. And again, you can pick up the book on Amazon this morning, Walking the Thin Black Line. And I'm speaking with the author, Melissa McFadden. This is fascinating. This is fascinating. Somebody wants to know, you know, this issue of qualified immunity has come up many times. Of course, that's court precedents that shields officers from having to come out of pocket, you know, for their own actions. Are you aware of that? How much of that plays into what we're seeing, if you want to call it the bad behaviors of officers, in your opinion?
It's a lot, because the fact that we are not held accountable inside, I don't find that we're held accountable for certain things that we do. And qualified immunity hinders that, because no matter what I do, basically I have to do something really out of pocket that would not be connected to my job, that would cause them to make me pay. But if they can say it's within my job scope of my employment, then they can't sue me. Nobody can get money out of me personally. You can sue me in my official capacity, but not personally. So my house is safe, my bank account's safe, all that's safe. But when they remove that, officers will be more careful how they treat people. They'll be careful, because then it's coming out their pocket. They can be harmed by it. There'll be consequences for them. So qualified immunity would actually be such a huge deal if they ended that or modified it, because that could ripple effect across the whole country, because it's constitutional. You know, it's case law. Qualified immunity is case law. So it'll be a ripple effect across the country, and you will see, no doubt, behavior changes, because nobody wants to lose their house.
Right.
Nobody wants that money gone out their pocket. So if that was to happen, it would be such a huge thing and such a benefit to and for the community.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We agree. We've been talking about it throughout the entire year, 2020. Let's talk about body cam, because body cam has come up with these incidences in Columbus. Do officers play games with the body cam?
Well, I know here at first they were playing games with them, but then they got serious and started getting disciplined for them, because it just started being ridiculous. But I don't think, as for here, they don't play games with them. I think our rules need to be changed to be more stringent of when the body camera should be on. I was so happy when body cameras came about, because we need them. We need somebody watching, because we have too much power to go unchecked. And that's what's been happening here in Columbus. Our officers have been unchecked, and they've gotten away with it for many, many years. In 1999, the Department of Justice came here and said there's a pattern of practice for Columbus police officers lying on reports, targeting African-American men, disproportionately using force on African-Americans here. The city, the FOP, the city attorney at the time, the chief at the time, fought against it. And so the Department of Justice left without implementing a consent decree that would have oversight. They made a deal with the mayor. You implement a couple of things, you get some cruiser cameras, then we'll leave you alone. And that's what happened. But you fast forward to 2019, 20 years later, an independent review found that African Americans are getting force use on them at a disproportionate rate. The same exact thing they found out in 1999. The same exact thing's been happening for 20 more years. People are being abused in the city, and nothing's been done about it. And it still has not been any rules put in place to prevent it. So that stuff makes me angry, because people are getting mistreated just because they look like me.
Yeah, I can see it. I respect it, sis, 100%. And so what about the politician? Like in Cincinnati, we've got something called a collaborative, which, you know, is not a perfect document, but it definitely goes a long way to renegotiating the relationship between the Cincinnati police and Black people that live in Cincinnati. And we too found, through looking at the documents and looking at the numbers, that there's systematic abuse, you know, toward our people. Is anything like that in the works, in conversation in Columbus?
We've been trying to get, so far there's nothing in the works. There's nothing in the works that I know of, but we're trying to push for change. We're trying to get different kind of training. We're trying to establish some kind of relationship with the police and the Black community. But right now, they talk about things that they want to do, but they have not implemented anything that I can see as of right now. And that's why I had to put the book out in September, because I just didn't see any movement, any progress.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing I want to make sure people understand, the book is not to discourage people from being police, because we need as many female African-American officers as possible, because the only way we're going to change the system if you change it from inside. And the only way to do that is to be a part of that, part of the system. Now, it's afforded me a great life. It's afforded me a great opportunity. It's been a long 24 years, but we need Blacks and females on. Specifically, we need a lot of Blacks on, because we don't have the 10, 11%. And Columbus is made up of 28% African Americans. So it's very important for people to understand that you got to come on. Not all officers are bad, and that is really true. And they do, the ones that they know will say something, they don't do the stuff in front of. So some people say, well, they're all bad because they don't speak up against the other ones. But do you think that anybody would do anything crazy in front of me? They're not. They know my value system. They know my morals. You know who does illegal searches. They know who they can do the stuff in front of. They know what supervisors are going to cover for them. I'm not one of those that's going to do that. Never have been. And there's officers like me on the department. There's a lot of them, even white officers, that are like me on this department. So when people paint us all as the bad apples, they're not doing these things in front of officers that are not going to tolerate it. That's just not how it happens. They all get in this circle of cliques where they all work with each other and they know each other and they know, and the person that's not the one that's involved, they're usually the one that's isolated. They're not showing up and runs with them. They're not doing the stuff in front of them. So I want to make sure it's clear that all officers are not bad, and they're good officers in the department, and they're not reporting bad conduct. They just don't see it because they're not doing it in front of them. If that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. I mean, on one hand, with your first statement is saying, look, you didn't write this book to discourage people from getting on the force. I agree with you. I've worked with the Cincinnati Police Department with this platform to promote their recruiting efforts, because I think we need conscious Black men and women to go on the police force and change it from within. Now, that's easier said than done, right? Because like you said, I mean, you had to deal with some headwind and some retaliation. So it's like, on one hand, you're telling people like, look, we need you on the force. But if you're a conscious Black man or woman with any kind of backbone, that you setting yourself up for what could be, some difficult times at the job. And it's some folks that just don't want to deal with that. They just want to make that money and be happy and then go home, right? They don't want to have to fight the people they're getting the checks from.
That's a good point. But that's why I'm fighting now, so that the people coming after me don't have to go through what I went through. That's why I have the book, so you won't be naive when you come on and you see what you see. Instead of thinking you're blue and thinking you're accepted until they attack you, you will know up front that I'm not blue. They're not looking at me like that. I need to stay on my purpose, and I need to stay in step. I need to do what I'm supposed to do, right by the people. And that book is supposed to let them know, because I don't want anybody coming on not understanding what actually is going on right now. But my hope is, with the exposure of the book, that it'll make change happen, impactful changes. So when somebody that looks like me comes on, they don't have to experience what I've experienced. That's the whole goal. And if I just got to encourage them to come on, because we need you. Because when I'm around, things don't happen. When you around, somebody look like you around, things don't happen.
Melissa McFadden is my guest. Nicole writes, if they know who are the crooked cops, why not set them up, catch them secretly on video or audio, and anonymously expose to the media, mayor, and city manager? Because her question is more about. Go ahead, Melissa.
So one thing is like there's 3 different shifts. There's a lot of different shifts. A company, B company, C company. You might not I know there's crooked cops somewhere, but I don't work with them. You see what I'm saying? We're 1,900 people, and we all spread out across the city. So there's cops on this department I've never even seen before. So it's not that easy to do stings. And the system itself is not set up to do that. They don't want to catch the ones that's doing this. The system is what's corrupt. The system is the one that does tainted investigations. They're the ones that play the favoritism. They're the ones that does the discrimination. So they're the ones that would have to set up all the stings and operations. I can't just do it on my own as a lieutenant or as an officer. You just can't do that. You have your internal affairs. It has to be an investigation that you have to. It just wouldn't work that way. You know what I'm saying? I can't just go around taping people and thinking that they're going to be doing something. You got to be there at the right time and right place when something happens. And because we're so large, there's no way that I can be anywhere to find who it is or to tape them. Does that make sense? Am I making sense at all?
No, it makes sense. I understand what you're saying.
But it's a great idea if the system itself wasn't corrupt, they would do stuff like that. But the system is not designed to catch them like that. They only really investigate when a complaint comes in from an officer or a complaint comes in from a citizen.
In your opinion, has there been a shift in the Columbus Police Department? I mean, just speaking about your experience, pre and then post George Floyd. I mean, we just had the summer of social change, the largest movement, for equity for Black folks. Did any of that, in your opinion, impact, and how did it impact the Columbus Police Department? And also, I guess what I'm asking you is, how do the officers that you work with, how do they view us? How do they view Black people that live in Columbus that they service?
Well, see, the thing is, it's not how they view Black people. They're not going to tell me that they don't like Black people. I'm Black. They're not going to tell me that. But the system itself, the way we police our Black community, the way it's designed, it tells me that we're occupied force in our Black community, that we believe that the Black community is criminals, that it's hard for we believe that our Black people are threats. That's what the system tells me, not individual officers, but the way we police, the way we do business around here. It makes me believe that that Black community is under attack. And it's a war on the Black community because the way they're perceived by the system that teaches and indoctrinates police officers to also believe that way.
Interesting. And has there been any changes in the conversation post Breonna Taylor? I'm just wondering how, when these things happen, how does it impact a police department? Because people, it's comprised of people, right? They've got to watch the news and talk about it and bring it to work.
It does, but you got to remember the type of people that work in the police department. There's people in the department, a lot of them can't see when blue do wrong. It's just like having a parent that can't see if their kids do wrong. I don't know if you ever seen a parent like that their kids can't do no wrong. It's the same thing. So a lot of times now with the George Floyd case, they definitely did not hear anybody say that was justified at all. Usually when something like that happens, you hear a lot of silence. They don't make comments at all. But when it's a controversial shooting or something like that, most likely than not, most of the time they're going to be on the side of the officer. Very rare do I hear officers other than African-American officers that I speak to on a regular basis talk negative about another officer involved shooting that they feel that might be on the fence. It's just the way it is. It's like they just want to take up for each other. Yeah.
I'm speaking with Melissa McFadden. She's the author of a new book called Walking the Thin Black Line. And she talks about racism, her observations within the Columbus Police Department. Melissa, I know you said 10 a.m. You've got to make a move. I would love to circle back around sometime soon in 2021 and have you come back on and talk about the next level, like take the conversation to another level. But I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. And like I said, my book is on Amazon. You can go to my website, www.walkingthethinblackline.com, and read about it.
All right. Melissa, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yep, most def. That's Melissa McFadden right there, Walking the Thin Black Line. Don't that sound hella interesting? Oh, you already know you got to cop that. You got to cop it. You already know. And man, I want to go deeper with her. Sister says she talking about some real reforms and some changes up in Columbus. And, when you hear about Columbus, I don't know about you, but it just makes me very thankful about the reforms that we have here in Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? Cincinnati is a little bit different. We a lot of bit different in terms of the relationship we have with our police department. And that's because you had good citizens that made it happen and stayed on it and continue to be on top of it. So again, I didn't realize, I thought I had read that she had recently got off the force, but damn, she's still on the force writing books. I love it. That's like kind of classic as a motherfucker. I love it. Beautiful. Damn. Greg writes, a lot of people are saying April writes, please come back soon. I'll reach out to the sister and see if we can get her back on. TNT writes, thank you for being so brave, Queen. Absolutely. Like when I heard about the book, you know, I had to have her on. You already know. And again, it could be like your first book purchase of 2021. There it is. Dan writes, the business model of leadership is designed to maintain the status quo. It's built in, self-generating. The business model is designed for a consumer culture. In other words, the system already has a story about who you are. Today, that story about you is embedded in algorithms. It takes the humanity out of situations. All right. I'm with you. What's up with you, Dan? What's up, Dan Joyner? And here dropping some dimes before we roll out of here. Yeah, a lot of people saying they are definitely going to purchase that book. Teresa says, definitely purchasing the book today. Absolutely. I got an online portion of it, so you already know. I like the hard copy. I can put it up behind me, then reach back and grab the book. Just the book we're talking about today. I love it that way. But man, it's hella interesting. I haven't completed all of it, but it's hella interesting just to see this sister's walk through this. And we didn't have time to go super deep, so we was kind of hitting some of the finer points. But she talks about incidences that took place from things that was posted on Facebook. Sounds like Cincinnati. And very timely conversation with everything that's happening with the police force in Columbus right now. You know, an officer just got fired because he didn't have his cam on. So, yeah. Thank you so much. I know you didn't have to. Lamedio, leave TNT alone. She juiced in, bro. She one of the founders of this. Lakeisha writes, Cincinnati is doing dirt as well. Oh, absolutely, they doing dirt. Now we ain't trying to act like. But it's all about policy and procedure. Like, you can't stop human beings from being human beings. You always going to have somebody that's going to do some dumb ish. You're going to have people that make mistakes. You're going to have people that bring their bias to the workplace. You can't stop that. It's not designed to deal with that. I don't think the collaborative is designed to stop that. The collaborative is designed to address it. That's what it's designed to do, to give you some recourse, right? You know, to give people some real confidence that they have a say in the way that their police department polices them. Yeah, because when people don't have a say and they feel like there's nowhere they can go, then the pressure just builds up and blow. How you like me now? We hit the streets again. So the Lamedio, come on, you can't go after TNT now. You can't go after TNT. We're not going for that. We ain't having it. She's under special protection. I'm saying, as are all the choppers. Dr. Fauci says the U.S. could be back to normal by early fall 2021. What is that? October? September? Is that early fall? Yeah. Get ready for it. Let me double check here. It's the last year of the calendar year. That's hilarious. Why Black community should take vaccine, written by Renee Mahaffey Harris. She's the CEO of the Center for Closing the Health Gap. What is Dwight Tillery doing these days? He just chilling now, getting checks? Don't worry if I write rhymes, I write checks. That's Dwight Tillery somewhere out there. Tillery. Drop writes, how many bad cops has the lieutenant fired? It's a good question. I didn't hear it. I didn't read the question until just now. I would have threw it out there. I'm glad you liked the interview. She did all the heavy work. And I mean, she just talked about her book. I thought it was fascinating. Haven't finished it. From what I've read, it's fascinating. And she is very brave. You know, again, I'm seeing more and more sisters stepping up. I'm seeing Black women stepping up. Where's the men? Why wasn't this a Black man that wrote this book? Not taking anything away from the sister at all. I mean, all props to her. That takes because I mean, there's a lot of strong people that, but she said something that was so true. And I remember back when Christopher Smitherin was fake trying to be cool with me. He used to say something, and he used to say this on the show as well. He used to say, because I'm financially in a good place, I can say and do these things, because that's how they come after you. The man is going to come after your finances. You know what I'm saying? Because if they can trip you up financially, they can shut you down completely. And so she just said something similar. She's like, look, they can't really do nothing to me because I'm eligible for retirement. So I've already passed that threshold. As soon as they start tripping or they do something I really don't like, I'm out the door with benefits, chilling. So what are we seeing here? That's why I say the finances is everything. The finances is everything, because when you secure the bag, then you can secure that freedom to go out here and challenge the status quo. If you ain't really secured the bag, man, they can always, whoever they may be, that nebulous day, they can always go after the bag and then handicap your efforts. I talked to a lot of black folks over the years, man, telling you. You would be surprised. I talked to a lot of black folks, some of which you know. And behind closed doors, they'll tell you like, shh, I got to make sure this bag is coming in, Nate. And that's precisely why I started my own thing with independent media, because I don't want to have to worry about the bag. You know what I'm saying? When I feel like I want to say something, I want to say it. It needs to be said. It's said, period. No repercussions or minor repercussions. You know, that's the whole point. You know, if you don't have that, then what's the point in doing it? In my opinion, that's just how I look at it. But let me see. Tanya writes, thanks for asking all the great questions. The interview triggered a lot of emotions, awareness, sadness, anger, and such. Brave struggle, but proud. Yeah, she kept it real. She said police officers lie. You know, you're going to see that in the CDM promo real quick, real soon. She said they lie. And we know they lie. We know it. You got family members. Like I told you my own situation. Mistaken identity, well, not even mistaken identity. Somebody stole my identity, did something dumb. I go down to the courthouse like, psh, I was irritated because I was the last person to talk to the judge. I had to sit in there for like 2-3 hours through all that nonsense, man. It's just not the place that you want to be. Officer Turner, I never looked at her in my life. Don't even know what she like. Get away from me. It was you. You got lucky. I'm like, what? Damn, I came this close to getting locked up for something I didn't do. Mecca writes, cave people, New Year's starts in the winter. Ass backwards. Cave people? What the hell? Rob writes, just bought it on Amazon. Cool. That's cool, Rob. Because, you know, she'll sync it up with the time and be like, oh, that's the Nathan Ivey Show. Great. Glad to have her. And I'll have her back on. Why is Lamidio in here just stirring the pot this morning? Come on, Lamidio. Letty writes, no point of encouraging any black young men and women to becoming police officers. For what? The rookie cops would not know how they operate until they witness corruption. Well, let me stop right there, Letty. I stand by what I said. We need good, strong character people to become police officers. We need good, strong black men and black women to become police officers in Columbus and in Cincinnati. Why? Because somebody's got to do that job. You know, they're not going to abolish or defund the police anytime soon. So as long as they're doing it, we need to make sure we have conscious people that look like us and have our best interest in mind and the overall best interest of the community in mind to go into law enforcement, because your interactions are going to be individual based. You know, typically when it comes with police, it's going to be an individual thing. It's going to be the person that stops you, that pulls you over for the traffic incident, or it's going to be the person that takes your statement. You're always going to be the person that arrives on the scene if it's an emergency. It's going to be a one-on-one interaction. So let's raise the numbers of the possibilities of people having good one-on-one interactions, because we have good, morally strong, you know, people that's doing it for the right thing, because you can abuse anything. You know what I'm saying? I know plenty of police officers, and again, I can't say I know them super personally like that, but they all appear from what I know so far, to be good people. You know, they do a real tough job. You know, they can flip that switch and be the kind of person that they need to be to get the job done. And then without those individuals on the force would be even more stacked against us. So I think it's possible that you've got black officers that are doing things, but it just doesn't hit our radar screen, so we're not aware of it. They're not beating their chest, and it's not going to show up in the media, and talk show hosts won't have anything to talk about. But some tells me that they're still having an impact. It could be on a one-on-one level, like, look, Jeff, come here, Jeff, let me talk to you. Now, Jeff, you was wrong, Jeff, between you and me. I think there could be a lot of those kind of conversations, but we just don't hear about them. You know what I'm saying? I think we just don't hear about them, and we'll never hear about them. We're not supposed to hear about them, but I think they're still happening nonetheless. So anytime you can raise the level or the percentage of good black men and women that's on the police force, anytime we can raise that, then you raise the possibility that people are going to have good one-on-one interactions. Because I guarantee you, if I ask you about how you feel about the police, it's probably going to be impacted by some kind of personal interaction you had with police. Probably traffic stop, emergent situation, or you had to call the police. One of those three. And then based upon what's happened to you, that's going to cloud, or it's going to color the way you look at them, right? It's going to impact the way you looked at them. But if it was another officer in that same scenario with a different attitude, they could have brought a whole different energy to that situation, and therefore leave you with a whole different type of energy afterward. You see what I'm saying? So now, Letty, I think we need as many good, morally strong people in general to become police. I don't care if they black, white, Asian, whatever. You out here trying to do the job right, you should be doing the job. You know what I'm saying? If you understand it's less about you, it's more about the people, and you ain't out here trying to abuse your authority, come on. But in particular, I think we need people to look like us, that grew up in our same neighborhoods, that have our same experiences, still have the same connections back to the block, back to your neighborhood, back to wherever you grew up, that they can bring those kind of experiences onto the job. And I think it'll have an impact on. That's what I think. You still might get tased. You know what I'm saying? That black man, shame on that black man for tasing that little girl. I'm never going to get over that. That didn't even happen in 2020. I'm still on that. Let me see here. 2020 in a nutshell, huh? Let me see. It's been a hell of a year. I mean, we started the year with what? An impeachment. Remember that? That was the big impeachment, because Donald Trump apparently said some crazy stuff to the Ukraine. He was trying to use the power of the presidency for his own personal good. Looks like he had a good reason to, because he ended up losing to Joe Biden. And then you had the big Democrat primary with all of those different people up there. Remember that? It was Bernie, and it was Joe. It was so many folks. It was Pete, Mayor Pete. Remember that? And then they went to South Carolina, and Jen Clyburn came out and stumped for Joe Biden, and that was it. That was it. Man, it's been so many things. The biggest story of the year, of course, is COVID. I mean, no doubt about it in this country, 100%. No doubt about it. Couldn't be anything else. That's what it is, 100%. Also, the rise of, I think, digital media, the rise of, everybody going live, everybody, being online more than usual, Letty writes, it took a black female officer to expose what she just shared. What does that say about black male police officers? Well, Letty, I think that's a fair point. I asked the same question. I mean, this is a black female showing this kind of courage. Why wasn't it a black man who wrote this book? And again, I have to do my research. Maybe there was. She didn't mention it. So But you're seeing the rise of these sisters all over the country, man. I love it. Keep it up. Somebody got to do it. Make it happen, Captain. Janice writes, to paraphrase, for evil to prevail, good men and women must remain silent. Absolutely. Is that Spider-Man? That's Spider-Man? Yeah. Sean writes, my sister-in-law is an amazing black female officer. That's a lot of great officers. I don't know about you, but when I got a situation, I prefer to have a black officer show up. I'm not saying it's 100% because you might get the black officer from it's not Baby Boy. You know what I'm talking about. But no, I mean, I'm just saying, because I'm thinking, okay, I got somebody that might understand me. I got somebody that's not going to automatically look at me like I'm a threat. And we need more of that throughout the city. We need more of that in CPS. We need more of that on CPD. She said that up in Columbus, that black folks are 28% of the population in Columbus, but about 10, 11, 12% of the police force. That ain't right. And she said it was done by design. It's a dope conversation. Like, she didn't get in too detail, but I mean, she gave us a good gist. She definitely whet the appetite. I can see how people are really interested in checking out the book. No doubt about it. Officer Friendly, abolish the police. Yes, we can. That's Deborah. We need our black men to take bold steps and not be afraid. I agree with you. I agree with you. And there are black men taking bold steps and not being afraid. That is happening. Yeah. Let me see. What is this here? Freezing rain on Friday. Ah, great. That is a great conversation. So again, you can find the book on Amazon. I'll put the image up here on it again. It's the front cover, Walking the Thin Black Line, Confronting Racism in the Columbus Division of Police. And I give the sister a lot of props for coming on the show. Most definitely. Let me see. Where are we at as we draw down here? Who's got big plans tonight? Who's going? Y'all partying? Where the party at? In your living room? You doing a COVID virtual party? I know a couple people on my friends list are doing like virtual New Year's Eve parties. I'm not planning anything like that with CDM for this point. I'm really just trying to get through the day to day in terms of some of the personal things. As I've told you, my mother, as I speak right now, is still unconscious. I'm very concerned about her. She's in a hospital. She got all the tubes in her. She's not breathing on her own, so that's not a good situation. And the family, I'm going over there today. So the family is still in flux. And then you start to have all the stuff that happens in a family when things are not put in place. I'll say it again. If COVID-19 has not taught us anything, it should teach each and every one of us that because death is an eventuality. Like, you're looking at a person who's dying. I'm literally dying in front of you. You can't see it because it's happening on a level that you can't perceive. But I'm literally dying in front of you, folks. And that means that I need to make sure that you have all of the things in place so that the people that you leave can still be good. Simple as that. So that the people that you leave can still be good. So making sure you have a will. Making sure that as much as possible that you've got some money that can take care of your burial arrangements. Like, you lose somebody, now you got to cough up $3,000, $4,000. You got to run around and get this and get that. I say we get on Facebook and type shit all day long. We just type all day long. Why can't you get on Google Doc or get on an email after today's show and simply write out and type out a will and send it to your wife and send it to everybody and say, in case something happened to me, here's what I want you to do. How easy is that? Just start right there. Even if you ain't got no insurance right now, where if something happens to you and you pass away, they'll pay for your burial arrangements. You don't need none of that. Just simply, this is my last will and testament. Here's what I want you to do with all the junk that I've amassed. Here's what I want you to do in terms of my funeral arrangements. Here's what I would like. Here's what I don't like. Something as simple as that. Here's who I want to be in charge of my affairs. Here's the point person. Because believe it or not, people are arguing about who's the point person. Well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do this. And she told me this. And I've gone through that on so many different levels. I'm telling you, my grandmother, when she passed away, she had a nice little chunk of change she passed away with. And she did not handle her business correctly. Instead of putting it in writing, she told a whole bunch of different people who were not in the same room together things that she wanted. I believe them all. I have no reason to believe that somebody's going to straight up lie just to get their hands on some cash. But when you don't do that, it becomes he who has the keys makes the decision. So the last person to have access to the credit card account, and the last person to have access to the checking account, and the last person to have access to the keys or whatever, that's the person who will end up deciding what they're going to do. Now, was that the will of the recently departed, or if somebody gets caught up in the hospital, as is the case with my mother? Not always. But that's why I say write it down. If in case I'm incapacitated, here's the person. It could be a wifey, could be a brother, could be a friend, depending on your situation. Here's who I want to make the decisions about me. I already told the wifey, I'll tell you too, I'm not that languishing in the hospital type. Just pull the plug and keep on going. Give me a little bit of time. I've written it in my will. Give me a little bit of time. And after that, pull the plug, save yourself some money and keep on going. You know what I'm saying? You're going to drain your resources trying to keep me going. I lived a good life. Let's get to the next one. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't do that, then people's feelings become involved. Everybody feels a certain way. Here's what I feel. And when feelings get involved, that's when tempers get involved. That's when all the conflict gets involved. So if we ever learn anything from COVID, with the tremendous amounts of people that have died around the world in this country that you may have known, I think everybody knows somebody that's been touched by COVID, if not has died. And by known, it could have been like a degree of separation. Like we know John from Florida, his brother died from COVID. We got people in the chop shop saying aunties, uncles dying of COVID. So we all touched by it. For those who are still here, that's the least that we can do for our children, for our spouse, for our family. Let's get that stuff taken care of. Do you want to be cremated or not? Make a decision. Write it down. You can email it to yourself or other people's. You can title it like "Don't Open" or "Open only in case of my death," or somehow I'm incapacitated. That way people can read exactly what you want to be done and hopefully respect it. That's it. Yeah, I appreciate the kind words and the prayers. I appreciate it. Janice writes, please get your life insurance policy whole life at a young age. You can attain a large sum for a small amount. Yeah, all of that. All of that. You own a home, get yourself the kind of insurance that something happens to you that pays off your house. Leave it to your children. Debt free. Of course, they got to pay the property taxes every year, but handle that business, man. It's business that we got to handle in our family, in the Black family, just to make sure that when things happen, because something's going to happen. Something always happens. And it's going to be at the least time that you can possibly think of. So the wifey and I've already done that. We've already done that to some degree in terms of the whole life insurance thing. But there's a couple of conversations that we need to have just to make sure that it's rock solid. Knowing where all the documents are, knowing where all the social security numbers are, knowing where all the important documents are. They can't be in 14 different files. One's in the basement, one's in the chiffero next to the bed, the other's in the broom closet, in a safe. Put them all in a central location. So boom, something happens, you just press the button, and then practice it. Ask yourself, do I have everything? Act as if it's already happened and go through the script. And I think it'll give you a lot of more peace of mind. Because when somebody passes away, all you want to do is just think about them and mourn them. That's all you want to do. All you want to do is just think about the good times. You don't be talking about no business and trying to figure out stuff like that. It's just going to be a drag on you. You don't want to deal with that. All right, let me check it out here. I told you the latest on McConnell. He blocked a $2,000 stimulus check, so no extra $1,400 for you. He believes that it might go to some people who don't need it. which is ridiculous. But it is what it is. We'll see what that means. I think it means it's over. I think it means it's absolutely over for that for now. We'll have to see what happens. You might get a new Senate. You might get a brand new reality in January. We'll have to wait and see. They might think differently. We'll have to wait and see. Shirley writes, you are absolutely correct. Oh, I already know. I lived it. Like I told you, my grandmother, when she passed away, she had a nice little chunk of change with her. She had a nice little chunk of change. And that she wanted to go to, her granddaughter. You know what I'm saying? But she didn't put the business part in place and put it in the right hands of people that she can trust. Bad things happen. There was some real bad things that happened in the Ivey household or the Ivey family, our extended family. It wasn't good. And see, when you're dealing with stuff like that, man, listen, people will carve you up, put you in a box, literally. So, that's a real sensitive area for some people. And luckily the people involved weren't thinking violently. They were just really upset. But it all goes back to making sure you got the good business plans put in place. That is what happens. Who controls what? Who's supposed to go take care of the bills? Because the bills don't stop. Big Mama passed away and she was like late on the mortgage. Guess what? She's still late on the mortgage. You better get that money in there. Because some motherfuckers come down, they're going to come down and take the house on the day of the funeral. If that's what it comes down to. The business never stops. No tears. Anthony writes, I told my wife I want to be in an urn on a shelf over the bed with the light shining on me. That's the way the next husband will be very uncomfortable. You ain't going to be, listen, I'm married, but if I was the next husband, you ain't going to be up there too long, bro. We're going to get rid of you real quick. Like, this is kind of creepy. Listen, I wish everybody a happy new year. I am planning on being with you tomorrow and doing a broadcast unless there's something that happens with my mother, and I'll let you know. So look for that. And we'll chop it up on New Year's Eve day. I know that's a holiday. And again, it's always different when people are not working in terms of the people that we hit on the show, because the show becomes a part of your working routine. And when people get a chance to sleep in, they do. I get it 100%. But I'll be here at least for, a good 90 minutes tomorrow, at least for a good 90 minutes. Like I said, I'm trying to go see my mother today. She's at ICU and they've got this tiny window and only one person can come per day, which is what it is. So when you're coordinating with a lot of family and friends, sometimes you might miss people. So if somebody beats me over there today, I won't be able to go today. I got to go tomorrow. So want to give you a heads up on that. Listen, have an excellent rest of your day. And 2021 is going to be what we make it. 2021 is going to be what we make it. Okay. Life is not about finding yourself. It's about making yourself. All right. So we got to make 2021 to be the epic year that we all want it to be. Simple as that. Listen, have an excellent rest of your day. I'll be with you again tomorrow morning, bright and early at 7:30 a.m. We'll chop it up. Until then, as I said, Happy New Year to you. I wish you the absolute best for the upcoming year. And we'll talk real soon. I'm Nathan Ivey, and I'm out.
Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
Yeah. Talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I heard you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. Tally all the I ever gave on my head. Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a that's what they don't understand.
I'm back again like flu season. I broke records while loose leafing. I'm coming down my roof, leaving. Don't give